Welcome back. Thank you very much for staying with us. Now, opposition parties are concerned that the cap on municipal bills for government ministers has been removed. The Ministerial Handbook was apparently amended in May to this effect. Now, in 2019, the 2019 version of the handbook, ministers were limited to 5,000 rand a month for water and electricity. But the provision has now reportedly been removed. Joining us to discuss this further is Abahlali baseMjondolo's General Secretary Thapelo Mohapi. Thapelo, good morning and thank you very much for your time. I must say this particular story created quite a storm yesterday. People are still commenting to this day, or this morning, just stating that for them at the very least, when citizens are now having to deal with a 10% increase in their tariffs, you've got ministers that will not have to pay at all. What do you make of this?
Well, good morning to the viewers. As the poorest of the poor, we are very concerned that this government is anti-poor. This government, we are in a very difficult time where we have an economic crisis. Instead of easing the burden on the poorest of the poor, those who are living in shacks, settlements like ourselves, the government decides otherwise, that they are going to please their own comrades because they are going to a Congress and the president wants to remain the president of the ANC and remain the president of the country, and therefore he must please his people in the cabinet, which is very unfair for us who are living in shack settlements under very undignified conditions. There are no services. That monies that are used to actually pump up into the ministers, who are already, by the way, having a lot of benefits in terms of petrol, in terms of allowance and so forth. Yet there are more allowances that are given to them and easing the burden on the politicians instead of easing the burden on the poorest of the poor in these difficult times.
No, it is a very difficult one, just judging from the commentary this morning alone. But what do you plan to do as Abahlali beyond just raising your concern, perhaps on platforms such as these?
I think it's high time that South Africans, first and foremost, realize that the ANC-led government does not care about us as the poorest of the poor. And this should spell for what is going to happen in 2024, that we should not vote people who are only enriching themselves and those and their families and forget about us as we continue to languish and burn and being washed away by floods recently, where for more than 300 people were killed in floods. Most of them, majority of them, are people who are living in settlements. As we speak, there are people who are still living in halls 5 months later, and yet nothing has been said about that. All the interest and focus is on the political elite in parliament, the ministers, and so forth. So it's clear that the ANC-led government does not care about us. And we are going to go out there and make sure that the ANC is not voted into power in 2024, but also we are going to make sure that we make as much noise and take to the streets as the poorest of the poor, because that's where our voices are. We are never been listened to. We are killed when we are trying to voice our anger under the conditions that we are living under. So it's very difficult times, and therefore, as Steve Biko had said, that black men, you are on your own. We have no government. It seems like this plane is going to crash because it seems that we have an inexperienced pilot that is driving this.
Now, speaking of killings in particular, we cannot let you go without just getting an update on that. As the Shack Dwellers Association, Abahlali, you have been under siege. There have been killings. You have been on various platforms talking about the safety of your members. What is the status now around those that were in hiding?
Well, I live in a shack. I'm currently in a hiding space as I speak to you. We continue to be in a hiding. We are told that there are people who are targeting the leadership at national level of Abahlali baseMjondolo. Nothing has been done by the Minister of Police. It is unfortunate that when a poor person who lives in shacks is being attacked and under threats, nothing is done. But whenever every life is important. But it's concerning that we we are on our own, that the government does not care, the police minister does not care about us, the president does not care about us. And when we speak, because recently we went to the European Union, we went to the United Nations and reported the killings of Abahlali baseMjondolo as has happened. We lost 4 activists alone this year, human rights defenders. And it is unfortunate that the minister does not come and attend to this crisis that we are facing as a movement and decides that he will protect the elite and the rich, and those who live in shacks like ourselves continue to languish and die and be killed in the manner that we are being killed at the current moment. For simply fighting for our rights, for fighting for our dignity as a society, nothing has been done by this ANC-led government to actually protect us.
But at the level of perhaps your police station, where you were staying, you go to Durban, you go elsewhere, at the police station, what was the response given when you brought it to their attention that your lives are under threat? They had to do a risk assessment. What came back?
Well, we have no confidence in the police, particularly in the Ketomena police station. And I must say that the matter of Lindokuhle Mnguni is now in the hands of the tactical team that is investigating political killings. But we are very, we've brought evidence before them. They know who the perpetrators are behind the killings of Abahlali. We have a footage that we've given to the police, and yet there has not been any arrest. We are very concerned about the slow pace whenever we are killed as human rights defenders. But when children of the political elite are being killed, the Minister of Police sets up timeframes. Lindokuhle Mnguni was killed on the 20th of August. Yes, and he's still... No one has been arrested or brought into book, given that we have given the police the evidence in a form of a footage when this incident took place. We are very concerned about the police and the protection and the concern that the police have over the lives. Those lives of the elites is more important than the lives of people who are living in shacks like ourselves.